Danny Clayton is a TV personality and public figure. That sounded wrong. Best known for his ebullient personality and shockingly fluid charisma. His illustrious career began when he was just a teenager, poached by an Australian music TV channel to travel the globe chatting to the world's biggest bands and artists and experiencing a coming of age that could be better described as a baptism of fire. In this episode, we sat down to talk about how he overcame the fear of live presenting, the future of the entertainment industry, the time he almost became a paraplegic, and the night he stole a boat. It's an extremely fun chat. Would recommend. Thank you for sitting with me today.
It is a pleasure, Tom.
Even though you might be high?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, full disclosure, I did buy a vape. I'm not really a vapey boy.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's head spins or if there's like THC in it or something.
Yeah.
I hope it's not. I'm not a good pot smoker.
You look fine.
I feel fine.
All right, I'm going to start you off with a hypothetical. I think I might have even asked you this before, but not on camera. If the world was ending tomorrow and you had one last meal tonight, what would it be and why?
So I think when people get asked these questions, they generally go to something really, really indulgent, you know, like large platters of sushi or, you know, roast. Man, I am a simple man. I just want a juicy steak, but cooked to perfection. Just something marbly, something just bloody, you know, just some veggies, garlic, just juicy. I know you can see it in your mind's eye.
Of course I can, yeah.
And you know, when you cut it open, it's like pink in the middle and steam comes out.
Yep.
And just some mash with truffle oil. Actual truffles. Jam that thing. I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Maybe in some psilocybin mushrooms so that when the world ends, I'm like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, cool. Peace.
So, ribeye or sirloin? I feel bad restricting you like that, but I mean, feel free to say any steak you want.
Oh, I don't know, just one of those ginormous fillets. Maybe a tomahawk.
Tomahawk?
Big tomahawk.
Yeah, like a
Something
Flintstone
where
steak.
It takes me forever to get through. So like, wait, the world can't end. I've still got dessert coming.
Something that like you feel like you want to die at the end of it anyways.
I hope the world ends soon. I'm suffering.
Okay. What is your favorite virtue, and which virtue do you think is most overrated?
Wisdom. Is that a virtue? Is the wise wisdom like a virtue? I guess I very much admire people who have not only just deep intellectual strength, but those who are very, very good at communicating things that they're passionate about, things that they're really, really learned about. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, they say that, you know, patience is a virtue. No, I think the people that are overly patient are losers. That's true. Oh, if I sit here and wait, something good will happen. Oh, no. Screw that. That is an overrated virtue. Nah, get rid of it.
So wisdom and patience.
Wisdom, yes, very much admire it. Patience, you're an idiot. You're waiting at the end of the line. Why are you in that line? Line up somewhere else with a smaller line. Talk your way to the front.
Yeah.
Sneak in.
You do a lot of that.
I do. I do.
Talk your way to the front.
I was like,
line.
yeah, I work here.
Yeah.
I'm actually DJing tonight. So disgusting. I've done that. It's so many lines.
Yeah.
It's like an hour-long line. Like, yeah, I have to get up there. I'm DJing.
Yeah, and they're like, so this is Kmart.
Just buy your toys and get out of here. But yeah, patience, overrated.
Cool. And who was the first person you remember looking up to as a child?
Oh, big one. David Attenborough. I remember watching his nature documentaries as a young lad, very, very, very young. And I thought that he was a rock star, you know. And it's funny because when people ask me that question, people generally think that I'm going to answer with a musician. But I thought that David Attenborough was the coolest dude in the world. He was getting up there with the animals. He was, even back then, really worried about saving the world, but not the world for humans. Screw them. They had their chance. He wanted to save the polar bears, the gorillas, the chimpanzees. Man, that guy was...
But he does kind of care about the world for humans as well, right?
I actually don't think he does.
You don't think he does?
No. I think that's a facade. I think that he's like, man, to save the animals, I need to play the game.
Yeah.
And I need to go, to save all of humanity, we must make a change.
Yeah.
And that's the only way he can get through to dumbass humans.
Yeah.
Because we are like a virus that has taken over the world. I know that's probably a little bit insensitive to use language like that, but humans are a virus. Agent Smith had it right. All we do is breed and spread. And
so if humans are a virus, then what's coronavirus? It's a virus on a virus.
It is the cure, Tom. No, that's too dark. I mean, gosh, if we are to get quite serious, you know, nature has a way of leveling everything out. And it's one thing, it's like a very, very interesting philosophy on humans is that, you know, we're not trying to save the planet by reducing the damage of climate change. You know, it's like we're not trying to save the earth and the animals and the trees. It's like, no. By trying to reverse climate change, we are trying to save humans because the earth will be fine. But if we cause a cataclysmic nuclear winter and all the plants on earth die, humans will be wiped out. And once that happens, life will find a way. And yeah, the earth will be fine.
Quoting Jurassic Park.
I am. I am definitely quoting Jurassic Park. But, you know, earth will regenerate. Yeah, it's already gone through, you know, ice ages. It's already gone through asteroids and volcanoes exploding, blotting out the sun. You know, things have happened and the earth has returned to its, you know, homeostasis. But humans, out the old and the new, there'll be some other species that will take over the planet in a few billion years.
What do you think would be next?
The next...
Like, you know, we've had dinosaurs, the age of dinosaurs, and era of humans, and what do you think's next?
I mean, if you believe QAnon, our lizard overlords...
I don't tend to.
I mean, the lizard overlords are already taking over. But what do I think that's going to be next? I think that a much more primitive life will take over the world.
Insects, maybe?
Like amphibians and moss and...
Moths.
Moss.
Oh, moss.
Just like really complex.
Like rhyme moss.
Flora. I think that Earth will be taken over by a life that we can't even imagine. You know, in our primitive ape-like minds. You know, we won't be able to... Are you talking
about from another planet?
No. I think organisms will mutate and evolve and it'll look nothing like humans. And I think that all mammal-like creatures will end up being killed by our selfishness. God, I got so deep and dark. Whoa. But I think that's it.
Good start.
So let's talk about television. Who's your favorite pop star?
Actually, I do have a question that's along those lines, but with music.
Yeah.
I always wanted to ask you. It's a popular question that I've heard some people be asked sometimes. Is there a band that you always find yourself, it could be band or artist, that you always find yourself defending that most people don't like?
Oh, that is a really good question. I like that one because I'm going to say, and this might be a surprise, but I talk about the Veronicas a lot. You know their songs.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Come on, baby, we ain't gonna live forever.
Yes, I'm aware of that song.
I feel so untouched. Genie's pop songs. Now, those two girls, I think, are the most underrated musicians in Australia. They are so good live.
Are they still making music?
I think they're still making music. But I think that what happened is that they got put into this pop sphere, but they were the biggest screamo metalheads. They are so good at doing rock shows and rock growls and like it is insane. And I think that if they were put in a different scenario, picked up by some sort of other group of musicians, instead of being the pop starlets that they are, I think they both would have been the leads and the fronts of some heavy metal band. And I actually don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they'll return with a savage rock and roll album. And their pop fans would be like, eh? But
their pop fans would have grown up by now and,
Yeah.
supposedly wouldn't care maybe, or I don't know.
yeah, but I'm like more around the lines like Slipknot, Rammstein, The Used, like that kind of kill switch engaged
Yeah.
realm of music is where I think that they're at.
Right.
And I'm hoping that they will come out with the Screamo album that we deserve from the Veronicas.
Well, let's hope they're listening.
Yeah. I'll send it to them.
What about the inverse of that question? So is there someone that
dangerous.
everybody likes that you think are overrated?
Oh, God, that's a dangerous question.
Yep.
Guy Sebastian. Not that nice. Nah, he's nice. I'm joking. He's a really good dude. Delta Goodrum. So wholesome. Evil Streak. Anthony Clear. Nah.
Are you just listing Idol contestants?
No,
What is?
Delta Goodrum was an Idol contestant.
Really?
She's an actress. All of these people are really lovely people. If I were to answer honestly, I would probably get into trouble. But I think there are some bands that are getting played everywhere, and I'm like, I don't get it. You're vanilla as hell.
Right.
Like, shut up.
Any of them that you wouldn't get in trouble for mentioning?
All of them I'd get in trouble for mentioning. Because like there'd be friends of their friends, or I know them personally, I'll drink with them and be like, hey, I like you guys as people.
Yeah. Come out from under the bus I just threw you under.
You guys are so vanilla.
Yeah.
But I can't say that. Because they're like, oh, why don't you try making music? I'm like, how come it? That's why I DJ.
Don't you play bass?
Oh, yeah. G, F.
You just play G? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
just
You know F2.
Yeah. Can't play slide.
But you don't need to play an instrument because you're quite a charismatic person. I actually wanted to ask you, do you ever have one story that you have up your sleeve at all times for when there's an awkward situation socially?
No.
No?
But I've got lots of stories. I mean, there are
so they're
stories
interchangeable.
about like, anything from stealing boats to explosive diarrhea in Mexico to kidney stones in Brazil to the hottest chili in the world. I mean, there are a lot of stories.
Would you like to give us one of them?
Well, take your pick from those four.
Okay, I'm going to go with, what were they again? There was the boat. There was a diarrhea.
Stealing boats.
Yeah.
Stealing a bus.
Uh-huh.
The hottest chili in the world. Explosive diarrhea, or a kidney stone, which I had to urinate, which was the size too big, which was awful. All of them are embarrassing, and none of them I would generally say on camera usually, because...
I'm going to go with stealing a boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I was quite tanked with my friend, and we came home and we took a bottle of rum from my cupboard and we walked down to Balmoral Beach and we went into the sailing club and we found a rowboat and we stole the rowboat and we rowed the boat over Sydney Harbour in the middle of the night, drinking nothing but rum. Only about an hour into this journey did we realise how obscenely dangerous this was. We are in the middle of Sydney Harbour at night time. There's still like boats flying past.
How big is this boat?
It is a rowboat, Tom.
Like
It
it's
is
like what I'm
tiny.
imagining you in this small dinghy kind of thing.
Tiny.
Like that's what it is, right?
It's a boat that they have to row out to other sailboats.
Right,
and
to
you leave
boats
it
that
there.
ought to be on the harbour, yeah.
Yeah. So we're in the middle of the harbour and we're like, this is bad. One of the oars breaks and we're like, we could die for this. And the entire time we were talking like pirates.
Yeah.
And that became unfunny when we realized we could die. But we didn't let the panic get into us, so we continued to talk like pirates to the very end. We turned up sometime in the morning, 4 hours later at Manly Beach. And then we got out and we're like, oh God, this is a terrible idea. And we got a taxi home. But we called the police to tell them that we had stolen the boat because we were overcome with guilt. And we're like, hello, this is Captain Clayton. That's not my real name. why are we talking like a pirate? Well, we stole a boat. We just wanted to tell you. Oh, I'm sorry. And there's an anonymous line. So, yeah, we called the...
An anonymous boat stealing line.
Yeah, well, the police line, if you give them a tip. Just a heads up to everyone watching. If you do anything illegal or you see something illegal and you don't want to tell them your name, there is an anonymous line. You can tip them off and it won't come back to you legally. So,
is that right?
Yeah, we were honest. We told them that we stole the boat. And
what happened when one of the oar broke? Like, did you just go in circles for
Good question.
Yeah.
I kept it, and I kept the end of the... and my friend didn't realize. And then 10 years later... I got that framed, and it's hung on his wall as a trophy of friendship.
That's great.
Yeah. And so he's got that to his day, like against the wall.
That's awesome.
Hey! Boom. Very good.
Yeah. I was going to circle back to your...
the pissing out a kidney stone.
Yeah. Eating a chili and then... No, I'm not actually going to say. I wanted to ask you about... you got into the work you were doing for Channel V quite young.
Yes.
And can you remember like the first moment that you had to speak in front of a large group of people or a crowd or something like that?
Yes.
And I'm not talking about grabbing the mic. I'm talking about like an actual, when you were paid to do something.
Yes.
Yeah. And were you fearful about that?
Terrified.
Yeah?
It's the worst. It's terrible. It's so unnatural. Oh my God. I mean, I was super, super young. And they got me to hype up the crowd for, I think it was like The Used or something, maybe like Foo Fighters or something. Like, hey, talk to the crowd. And, I remember just going out and there's like a sea of people my age. And I just felt like an imposter. Like, hey, everybody. Hey, kids. Like, what the hell? It's like, shut up, dude.
Yeah.
But it got easier.
Were you 16?
I was 16.
Yeah.
But, I was 16 and... when I started doing it like proper, when I was like on television, I remember we were doing this show called The Bus Show. And at that stage, I was working with Channel V, like going to after school, turning up to VHQ, doing stuff, and then going back to school, and doing normal things. And then as soon as I finished high school, year 12, that was like turning 18. I was like 17, turning 18. And that's when they're like, right, we want you to work. And I'm like, great. And, I remember coming out on the stage, doing one of our bus shows up on the Gold Coast. And there was just like, a sea of people and they're like on television. And I'd panic and I'd say stupid things. At one stage, it was a different time. I remember coming from an all-boys school, if something was bad, it was gay.
Yeah.
And, you don't mean
No.
homosexual.
Of course not, yeah.
It's gay. And in my teenage vocabulary, someone was like yelling something. I'm like, oh, that guy said he was gay. And Yumi Stein, so I was doing the show with, is like, oh, what do you mean by that, Danny? Are you saying that being gay is bad? I'm like, no. Oh, no. And I just remember how mortified I was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's not oh, no. And then Yumi Stein's just like, that's what everyone heard. You said that guy's gay as if that was an insult.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, this is going sideways. I just remember the panic. My little, oh my God, I've been embarrassed on television. It was just so panic. But it was okay because for the next, 3 or 4 shows we did, Yumi Steins would make me make out with dudes in the show. So just to make sure everyone knew I wasn't homophobic. But it was a baptism by fire.
Yeah.
And it was scary.
How have you, historically handled dealing with fear like that?
This is so dumb. I think of Freddie Mercury.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Naked or?
Not naked.
Okay. No, I mean, are you naked when you think of Freddie Mercury?
I have been naked when I've thought of Freddie Mercury. But I think of nothing really matters. Yeah, that's it.
Right.
We're just a sack of beef spinning around on a celestial rock.
So your tactic is to kind of take a more macro view of everything and kind of say, well,
It doesn't really matter.
There's not too much important downstream of my actions, so it's just throw caution to the wind. Or
I'd made so many mistakes when I first started at Channel V. it was just like mistake after mistake. And people didn't like me when I first started at Channel V. And I was like, initially they're like, who the hell is this kid? We don't like him. Get him off. He sucks. And people used to send in messages to the boards and like just be abusive. And, I copped it so hard that everything after that, I was like, they already hate me. And then when they started to like me, I'm like, oh, they like me now. But I'm like, nah, it's the same, really. And it made things much easier. Being like, it doesn't really matter if they hate me or they don't. And yeah, I think that it's much easier. It was much calmer. It's like, take a breath. And also, it's like, this advice I give to anyone who goes out on stage. It's like, just have fun. Even if you have fun and you're doing a shit job, you still had fun.
That's true.
Generally, if you're having a good time, it ends up being a good performance. So,
do you think there's a knock-on effect as well from having, it almost gives you confidence in not caring what happens?
Yeah.
And therefore that confidence has a domino effect with opportunities because you say yes to things more often, you do things, you just suck opportunity up like a sponge if you're more confident.
Yeah.
So it has a domino effect in a way, or?
Definitely. And it doesn't hurt to have a lot of flying hours where you get accustomed to unusual circumstances. And it's interesting, it was like Hayden James was playing a show in Vegas. And just as he was about to go out, he discovered that his warm-up guy, or the dude prior to him, the set he was following, was Bill Nye, the science guy. So thinking
Bill Nye was DJing?
No.
Okay.
He was doing a show. So instead of having a DJ like playing music and everyone dancing, and then Hayden James playing, Bill Nye, the science guy, was going, okay, so you're here on the Earth. And you're spinning at this speed.
Yeah.
And everyone's going, Bill. No one's listening. And they love Bill. But there's this full-on 30, 40-minute set of just science. And Hayden has to go out. And there's like 30, 40,000 people. So Hayden's about to go out. And Hayden's like, yeah, it was massive.
Why was Bill Nye
crazy? It was pretty good. It was pretty good though.
I'm sure it was great. But that's a strange thing to have was it a festival?
It was a massive festival in Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was funny because Hayden is like 30 seconds from going out. He's like, oh, shit. Danny, can you go out? And I'm like, yep. I just walked straight out, picked up the microphone, and there was like 40,000 people.
Yeah.
And I just remember feeling how just at home I felt.
Yeah.
Like, what's up, Vegas? Hey guys, I'm my friends. And I was like, woo. And I just remember having so much fun. I'm like, how good was Bill? Bill was sick, but guess what? It's time for the smooth, deep house tunes of my friend Hayden James. And it's just going into this kind of big up for Hayden. And I just remember feeling like it was my happy space. Everyone would probably be mortified being in front of 40,000 people without, something to say.
Yeah.
Even something just ready in the noggin. And I just remember going from zero to being in front of 40,000 people with a microphone with little knowledge of what was going to come out of my mouth. And I just remember, God, I like this. This is fun. I don't know what's going to happen.
So then what makes you nervous these days?
Really silly things. Expectations?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What about when you hurt your back? Did you ever have fears that it wasn't going to, you weren't going to recover?
I had a very bizarre scenario in the hospital when they said that they were essentially, because I couldn't feel my feet, and then a doctor said that it looked like I was never going to be able to walk again. And when that happened, the first thought that came to mind, I know this sounds ridiculous, was like a positive thought. And I literally thought, man, I did so much. Like, I got to do so many great things. I got to rock climb and travel and surf and snowboard and skate and run. I'm like, oh gosh, I had a really good go at it. I had a really good go at having legs. And it's bizarre because that was where I went. And it was almost like I became like this drunk off this like rush of adrenaline and euphoria. It was like, oh God, it was like this mixed state of panic, dread, and like, oh God, this is where, don't worry, I'll figure out what I'm going to happen. Like I'm going to figure out a way to live a good life. And then, you know, I remember getting put out, and when they put this needle in me and they put me in this coma, and they said, count down from 10. And I remember going, 10. And that was it. And then I woke up, and I'm like, where am I? I have no idea where I am. Oh, shit. Oh, can't walk. Rest of my life. That's it. It's all over. And then I went to this dark place, and I had this really awful feeling. It's like, am I going to be able to have kids? I'm like, can I have kids? I'm like, oh no, I'm never going to be able to have kids. I'm like, am I going to find love? I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, I can feel my legs though. And I remember looking at my toes, and then I gave my toes a wiggle. I was like, screw that guy. That guy's a dick. He's wrong. I'm going to walk again. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Screw this guy.
Yeah.
And then, I got put in a cast, and had a lot of agony after that. Lightning bolt through my entire body for a long time.
You would, if you were in a wheelchair, you'd rue the day that you saw me again, because I already push you around.
Yeah.
It would have been worse.
Yeah, shit.
And how was that after that, the period when you got out of hospital?
Really painful. Really, really quite painful. Very, very scary. I was very much in love with a girl at the time. She was very, very patient, and she was very, very good. And, you know, to this day, I still love her for it. And she helped me through what was, you know, one of the darkest times of my life. And, you know, patience, one of the worst virtues, but she had it. She was very, very patient, and she was kind to me, and came out the other side stronger than before. You know, so started training a lot, got really, really strong, and probably went too far.
With the training?
Well, yeah, it became one of those gym idiots. Like, no, I've got to get my gains. No, I need protein.
Was that during the period where you had the really long beard that used to annoy you?
Yeah.
That was a
terrible beard.
No, it was a terrible period.
Yeah, terrible period. Of your life because of me?
Yeah. Of my life because of you having that really long beard.
Yeah. I definitely became more of a jerk. Yeah. I was going to the gym in the morning for like an hour and a half, and then gym in the afternoons. Ooh. Got really shredded.
Yeah.
And then got kidney stones because I kept on sucking down protein shakes.
Oh, that's where the kidney stone came from.
That's where it came from.
Jesus.
Because I was hitting up like 4 scoops of protein a day.
Yeah.
4, Tom.
Well, I don't know what
it's all just calcium.
I don't know
So I had calcium stones in my kidneys. And I pissed them out.
Okay.
And to describe that, fairy tale time, guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's like a ball covered in razors, and you have to piss that out, your urethra, after it's shredded its way through your kidneys. So as it's coming out your piss tube... That
sounds fun.
Imagine, and this is what I imagined, as it was coming out of my tube, I imagine this little guy with his hands like covered in claws, and he's going... And he's just like holding his way, and he just drags his claws down your piss tube. And it hurts the whole way. And you feel it. And you're just going, I mean, my God.
So how do you avoid having one of these things now?
Drink a lot of water.
Just drink a lot of water.
Drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of... This makes me want to drink water right now. Drink a lot of water. Drink apple cider vinegar.
Drink apple cider vinegar?
Yeah, like little shots. When it got to the... Because I had to pee every day. And I'm peeing blood, Tom. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
And when it got to the end of my piss tube, on the start of it, I should say... The peeing thing, because you're peeing, you're going
yeah.
And then it just stops. So you go
it's locked up.
It blocks. Whoa. And that's when you know. And you oh no, and it comes out pretty slow. But then when it gets to the end, it goes like a little cannonball.
Oh my God.
Terrible.
I'm you know.
My willy hurts telling this story.
I'm kind of glad I didn't pick that story out of all those stories.
Yeah, that wasn't even the story.
That wasn't the story.
No, because that is the story.
Oh.
Prior to that, though, I kept on vomiting because of the pain.
Yeah.
So I had these like heavy endone painkillers, and I couldn't keep them down. I'm like, blah, and I'd swallow more and then vomit them out. And I remember going, looking at it and going, and second knuckle.
What was...
It had to go right up.
Yeah.
And so basically the science of it works is like, so you push it up your bum.
Yeah.
And then you push it up to the second knuckle.
Yeah.
And then the hand of God comes down and goes, takes it from you. And then the pain goes away. But
yeah.
I just remember.
Do you still take MDMA?
No. This was endone.
Yeah.
A terrible drug, which I would actually, you couldn't pay me to take endone.
Yeah.
Even if I was in a lot of pain. I couldn't, I'd actually rather grit my teeth and bear it. Terrible drug.
Yeah.
Awful.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry if this we.
There is no, so we're just
Cool.
wherever we are.
Great. So let's talk about my favorite meals to cook for a date.
Okay.
No, not actually. I was just joking.
Do you cook meals for a date?
No.
I think you usually take
just
people...
breakfast.
Yeah.
Hey. No.
You order it in, don't you?
Well, yeah, I don't cook
Breakfast,
for dates because I'm too self-conscious. Like, I'd be too shy to cook.
Yeah.
I think. Like, you're an exquisite cook. I love your cooking.
Thank you.
And I'm constantly in awe of your cooking. Your slow-cooked beefs, your sauces, your chili. I just, and like, when I'm at your house and you're cooking up a storm, not to be overly complimentary because I know how much you hate it, but I do, like, I really admire your finesse.
My finesse?
Yeah.
That's not something anyone has ever said to me before. They admire my finesse.
Your finesse.
I'm one of the least finessed persons.
No, when it comes to the kitchen, man,
Yeah.
I think that you have a very strong skill in finding delicate flavor.
Yeah,
and so
that's a good thing.
So if you give me a wine and it's an Aldi bottle, and then you get a really, really fancy bottle, I'll probably go, they're both pretty good, mate.
Yeah.
But you were
That's
like,
funny because I've just been giving you the Aldi wine every time you come over.
Yeah, but I mean, you could, and you go like, this is $200 bottle, and I'd probably go, I can really taste the flavors. But you can actually describe wine with great detail.
I don't know. I'm not that great at it. I mean, I know a little bit here and there, but some of it I think is a little bit too much, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like,
when you like cough,
it gets. Yeah. But I mean, like, even do you remember
Matt Moran with his cravat?
Yeah, no,
my Matt
I don't.
Moran impersonation.
It does. That's
Sorry,
a very
Matt.
good impression. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. I don't really know much about Matt Moran or what he's.
Master Chef.
Yeah, I thought Matt Moran is the guy that owns Chiswick and stuff. Are you talking about the guy with the cravat? Isn't that someone else?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
You're wrong. Matt Moran's the guy that rides
Bald guy.
motorcycles and he's bald.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, look at me.
What's the guy's name? The cravat wearing gentleman from MasterChef? I don't.
The one where like his neck,
Yeah.
his neck and his chin meet. Oh God.
Yeah, I think people that get a little bit too far into it. You know how you showed me those videos that you had that you guys found.
My naughty videos.
No,
we don't talk about
the
that
naughty. Well, they are the naughty. Depends who you're asking. But all of that Penfolds Grange that you found.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Oh, I mean, a friend's father has a case of this, bottles of wine, which were like $2,000 each.
Yeah.
And he's got dozens.
So here's my thing, right? If I tried one of those, and I haven't tried Grange, but I'm pretty confident that if I tried it, I wouldn't be able to taste the difference between like that and let's say just a $200 bottle of wine or a $100 bottle of wine, maybe.
Okay. I think you're wrong.
Really?
I went on a very, very fancy boat.
Yeah.
With a very, very fancy company. And they did have one of those bottles.
The Grange ones. Yeah.
And I remember thinking, it's wasted on me. What do I know about wine? And I remember drinking this glass of wine, and it tasted like velvet.
Yeah.
It was like pouring happiness down my throat. Like, oh, this is amazing. But I think that even if you're not good at wine, you'd still say, oh, no, that's a really, really lovely wine.
Oh, I'm sure you would.
But I
say
think
it's
that
lovely,
everything in between, that's all the same. Squish grape.
Well, is it at what point does it become diminishing returns? Like after, is it $150? If you double that, is it twice as good? I mean, really?
I'm no sommelier, but, I think that anything above $30, I reckon it's all the same. You know, I think $30, pay $30.
But you said the Grange was velvet.
Yeah,
but you wouldn't pay $2,000 for it.
But when you get to that, really, really, really high end, it's like, all right, maybe.
Okay.
But anything,
How much of what you eat and drink and enjoy do you think is about the story? And I don't just mean the story of what you're consuming, but who you're consuming it with, where, the environment, all of that sort of stuff.
Most of it, 90% of it. So I did invite you to a dinner.
Yes.
And I paid a lot of money for you to attend. You didn't come because you had a 1-year-old's birthday to go to.
Well, you told me the wrong date.
No. I sent you the right date. It's in texts. I got the receipts. Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about the text. I was like, you said it to me
but then I sent you the invite, Tom, and it had the right date.
Yes, but here's the thing, right? I didn't properly read the date on the invite because you said the date to me and I said, hey, I've got a 1-year-old's birthday party.
All right.
You see?
Let's agree to disagree.
Let's not disagree. That's what fucking happened.
Okay. Let's disagree. You stood me up.
What are we disagreeing on?
I'm just saying, I sent you the details. Look, we could get caught up in this for a long time, Tom.
We're already caught up in it.
Would have liked you to have been there because you would have enjoyed yourself.
Didn't you say there's going to be a next one?
There will be another one, but like another 6 months.
I don't think I can afford to get my photo in the Daily Mail.
Don't make me give you a backhander. The party was really amazing.
Yeah.
Every time food came out, it's like, this is a lovely fish, sustainably caught from this guy who only catches fish using a hand reel and all these great stories, every meal. And it made it so much more enjoyable. The company was fine. We chatted, we laughed. The banter was good. Every wine was matched with the meal. And we were drinking champagne that was the same champagne that was from the Titanic, the same brand, same type.
I remember you said that. Yeah,
and it was just great.
Did they send someone down to Divers to pick it up, or was it?
Yeah, they did. It's cold down there.
Yeah.
So it was kept quite fresh.
Of course.
But the same brand, same type.
Yeah.
And knowing that made it really enjoyable. It's like we're drinking history.
Yeah.
And
not we're all on a sinking ship together?
No, not about to die in the cold, cold, icy depths of the Arctic. And Jack isn't going to get shoved off that door frame when there was plenty of room, but Rose was selfish and decided to murder Jack.
Take it up with James Cameron, man.
Will do. But it is all about the story. And I remember feeling like such great joy because the company, the food and the wine was lovely.
Yeah.
And it was expensive. But a few weeks earlier, I was sitting on the grassy knoll down at Bondi with my dear friend Jim, who's getting married tomorrow. And we had $20 fish and chips and 6-pack. And we watched a storm roll in. And I experienced such great joy just watching this storm with my close friend Jim Finn and his soon-to-be bride, Dom, and my housemate, Ollie. And it was just really, really beautiful. And you don't need expensive meals and expensive grapes.
Sure you don't, but the story is built in as well. I mean, it's the same, it's like for like in those two situations, right? I mean, you have one cheap and simple experience and one expensive one, but the fact that they both have a story to them.
100%. And the thing is that, like, if we are to get philosophical, one of my favorite philosophers and ancient Greek philosopher being Epicurus, and he spawned the Epicurean way of living. And it is all about wine, actually. It's like based in wine because they love their wine. And his whole kind of ethos behind the Epicurean life is that cheap grapes with good company is more important than the finest of wines in the world and no company at all.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it's almost this incredible lesson that everyone right now has with certain circumstances aside, the majority of the world right now has everything that they need to live the happiest of their lives. You know, people are always wanting more. If only I had a sports car, or only had this or had that. It's like they keep wanting, but
Why do you think that is?
I think it's the way that we've been programmed. I think that humans are taught to always want more instead of being completely happy with what they've got.
Taught by whom?
I think that we are products of our environment. I think that, the mass media is conditioning people to buy things, to want things, to be materialistic.
You mean the entertainment industry?
The entertainment industry, of course.
Yeah.
But there are therapists that work exclusively with the 0.01% of the world. And they say that even when you talk to the billionaires and you ask them about their problems, money is still a problem. Because no matter how rich these people are, they're like, I've got this $300 million boat, but God, if only I could, I'm just short of this $500 million boat. They still want more. And here's the thing, money, you don't complete money. You don't earn a certain amount of money and go, all right, I'm done. You can keep trying to chase more money. But at some point, you just got to go, man, I'm happy. I'm happy now.
It's kind of relative, isn't it? I mean, we think of obscenely rich people as having those problems as it being quite obnoxious. But I mean, we would look obnoxiously rich to most people in third world countries.
Of course.
Like they would be like, the guy's got a motorcycle and he's, worried about how much he's getting on his next contract. It's like, what a dick. And we're like, well, no, that's a reasonable thing to worry about in our society.
Of course. But if you're living in Australia and you have a few $100,
I do, and I have.
Yeah.
Not on me, but yeah.
You're looking pretty. You're looking pretty. That's it. You are looking pretty. We've got a great healthcare system. We do take care of our community for the most part.
Yeah.
And man, I think that everyone should thank their lucky stars that we are in, a country like Australia.
I always do. I mean, I'm thinking about like what happened to me and going through the hospital system for a year and a half and the tab completely being picked up by the Australian government.
Been meaning to talk to you about that.
Yeah. You've been asked.
That's some of my taxes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought you meant Scott asked you to ask me.
I am going to say, you're going to have to pay that.
You are seeing Tom this afternoon.
Yeah.
Just bring up the issue of the bill.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? Do you know how much that bill was?
No, I don't.
Would you have a guesstimation?
I could probably try and work it out based on the day rate of staying in a hospital.
Of course.
Plus, what you have to pay surgeons for amputations, and I had a lot of skin grafts and things like that. But then, it's an ongoing thing because my prosthetic hands are worth $12,000 each and $8,000 for legs, and I break cables all the time and all sorts of shit. So, there's a lot of ongoing cost, and this country just picks up the tab.
Yeah, which it's worth it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. Because you get me.
Yeah, we get you. That was a good investment, Australia. And I think that I don't know what would have happened to you if you were American.
Well, if I had private health insurance, I guess.
If you didn't have insurance.
If I didn't have insurance, actually, I don't know.
That is wildly dark.
I mean, they've got great healthcare.
Yeah.
But it's just the access to it is varied depending on what kind of insurance you have. And so I think you can pay up front, like you can fully pay for everything. So that would bring into account the question that you asked before. How much would the tab be? A ridiculous amount of money. I don't know what it would be. If you had to do it all over again, but you couldn't work in the entertainment industry and you had to pick another field, you had to do something different as a job, what would you pick?
I know the answer to this. Like, I've got multiple answers.
Okay.
I have a doctor friend who I admire a lot. His name is Dr. Jack. You know Dr. Jack?
Yeah.
I love talking to him about medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I love talking to him about medical procedures. He shows me all of his medical videos, and I'm never like, ugh. I find it really fascinating. I think I'd love to be able to help people. I'd love to be a doctor and be able to do that. But I also don't think that anyone can do it, and I don't know if I could do it. Besides not being intelligent enough, like you have to
you
go
could
to
be.
school. But
You
you know,
do
you
have to go to school.
have to put in some serious work.
They do ask you to attend some school.
Some sort of school.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely something interesting. But then again, like these are just people that I admire. I was like, I've got another friend. He's a barrister. His name's Ian, the Honourable Ian Neil. I look up to him a great deal, and he talks about law, and he talks about the way he loves law. He loves his job and the way that he can help people. I find him as a character interesting, and the way that he finds law interesting. And I think if I had to redo it again, I mean, maybe that's not a very interesting answer.
That's fine.
But being a doctor or a lawyer, it's like I sound like the parents of a Chinese student be like, you become a doctor, you become a lawyer. That's it. You got two options. But I mean, yeah,
But are you happy in the entertainment industry?
I love the entertainment industry. I love telling stories.
What do you think is the future of the entertainment industry right now?
If I knew, Tom, I'd probably be much less anxious. If I had to take a guess, everything's going streaming. Broadcast television.
Of course, yeah.
Broadcast television, its time is numbered. Right now, we put a lot of faith and our commercial dollars into these big network stations. They are gone. The moment that streaming services start going, all right, stream all your stuff here, click on the shows you want to watch, but we've got a live feed to this live event. And when you get to that menu and there's a big timer, hey, coming up live on Netflix is this live concert. Broadcast network television is gone. And when it happens, it will happen so fast that Richard Wilkins won't be able to comb his hair. Koshy will not be able to change his suit. It will be fast. It will be quick. And and then this whole new generation of TikTokers and kids.
Well, that's another thing I was going to ask you as well, is that there's so many people, there's a kind of democratization going on now where, I mean, you're one of these people that, if you don't mind me saying, sort of monetizes your Instagram.
Not very well, though.
Maybe not well, but a lot of people do that and do it quite well. And so you're kind of removing a middleman between, what used to be an agent or a manager for talent as well. And you're filing everybody into the gig economy based on some sort of a currency or metric, whether it be their likes or their reach or whatever it is, to which they can, leverage to get more work. Where does that leave the people who are in the middle, the managers, the publicists,
Gone. So brands can contact people directly. They can get them to do a ad for quite cheap and see what kind of numbers, what kind of data. Like, I'm working with a company right now, and their whole company isn't production. It's analyzing YouTube videos and seeing which YouTube videos have the most reach, which ones hit the audience, where the audience pulls out, what intros work the best. And they've come up with the science behind what is working.
Sure, it's a new world of data now.
It's a new world of data. And I think it is really sad. Working with this company right now, they analyze these videos, they say what's popular, they say what's working. And one of the great dangers of this is that we're giving everyone exactly what they want. I don't think that is necessarily a good thing. When I was doing long form, I'd start telling this story and people be like, all right, where's he going with this? And they had to stick around to get to some sort of conclusion, to be rewarded with something. Vanilla Sky, the film with Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz and Penelope Cruz, makes no sense for the whole film until the very end. If you try to show someone on TikTok, Vanilla Sky, a TikToker, they'll be like, next. Vanilla Sky is one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
And I think that when you give people the little crunched down videos, which are these big old dopamine hits, I think it actually trains them up to only consume content like that. And I'm terrified that the future of content, the future of television, is all of these bite-sized 30-second videos of yippity yap. And
You sound like an old man.
I do feel I sound like an old man. But
Okay,
there's
I
always
have
going to be room for bigger stories. But I think that...
Yeah, I think there is room for long-form content. I was having this conversation with someone else recently, but there are podcasts now that people listen to for really long periods, longer than they would have listened to the radio, like talkback and things like that.
Sure.
And there's also different opportunities, conversations that go when somebody commutes and things like that. They have time where they'll listen to something that's long form. But I think it's just the amount of content that is now around that people have to become discretionary. They have to discriminate between, I'll give something 5 seconds, and if it's not any good, I've got a million other things that I could watch or could be watching. Whereas, 20 years ago, we had 3 or 4 channels on television. You sit down, if nothing's on 7, you switch to 9. If nothing's on 9, you switch to 10. And if that's not very good, you have to choose your poison, right? That's it. So people have got too much option.
We're drowning in a sea of mediocrity.
Yeah, well, that could be downstream of having too much option, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like right now you've got... When you're watching 1,000 things, when you're listening to 1,000 podcasts and you're watching 7 different TV shows at once, you're not really watching anything.
Yeah.
It's like when you
try and multitask, you're not really doing anything. Yeah.
When you're present and you're in one thing, you're watching the one show and it's like you're watching that. But it's like, I think even though people watch TV these days, they've got their phones out, they've got their iPads out, and they're like browsing Instagram.
Yeah, while they're watching TV.
Yeah. It's like, geez, it's like
it's like the sitting and watching of the TV is just an homage to yesteryear. It's like we all used to sit here and do this. Here's a tip of the hat to that, while I check my Instagram.
Yeah, but I miss the communal show watch. When the show comes out on Friday at 7:30 and everyone comes around to watch the show. It's like even Game of Thrones was joyous for that. Having to people, of course, they'd rip it's the most pirated show of all time. But yeah, it was just wild that for this little glimmer of a time, people were getting together to watch Game of Thrones together. But now that movies being released might not even go to cinemas anymore, they might be going straight to streaming services.
Yeah.
Have we lost the communal entertainment experience?
We're going to be losing a lot of the communal everything, as we have, I guess, with COVID and people working more distributed now as well. And then if they're consuming content, they're not going to the movies or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit like the abundance of entertainment. It's like the abundance of social interaction. It's like when you've got 10,000 of your best friends accessible on your phone.
Yeah.
And it's like it must be pretty lonely.
Well, the other thing is, if you know what everyone's up to, you don't have a reason to call them, do you?
No. We're essentially heading into an era of just autonomy.
Autonomy?
Even something that freaks me out is like when you've got those preset responses. If someone sends you a text and you can go, oh, hey, cool, call you later.
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't say that. My Apple Watch said that.
Right. Don't you think it's more like we've become this connected world and the first byproduct of that is to completely disconnect us from each other?
Yep. Big time. I mean,
That's kind of ironic, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. With the powers of the internet, we have the incredible ability to be connected to anyone around the world, but instead we look at memes and cat videos.
I've got 2 more questions to ask you to round this out.
Drop it on me.
Usually it's 3, but I already asked you the job question, right? So the second last question is, it's kind of similar to what other kind of job would you do, but it is if you had to live anywhere else outside of Australia, and yes, Bondi, where would that be?
I like that question. So, I mean, I love nature, and I found Reykjavik, Iceland, so hypnotically beautiful. And I know, but then there's Japan, the chaos of Japan, the food in Japan, and it's just so vibrant and lovely. And then I like LA, but I hate the city. I just like the Venice and the surfing and but like in the end, if I'd be realistic and true, I'd probably say New York. It really is the city that doesn't sleep. It's not now. New York in a safer period of time, but there's just so much going on. And I think that everyone, should live in another city once. But that question's so difficult to say because London, shitty weather, great people, lovely pub vibes, but New York probably be the best fit for me. Doing media in New York seems to be the right choice, but God, I'd miss surfing. Not much surfing in New York.
No.
So
almost none, I would think.
Oh no,
Oh, you surf a bit down the Hudson?
You can if there's a big ship that comes in and you can catch the wake.
Or if a big plane lands in it.
Yeah, maybe a big but no. But just a drive outside of New York. Like if you jump in your car and you get out, there's really
there are beaches, right?
Well, no, it's just beautiful forests and beautiful cliffs and quite a lot of nature. Like people think about New York just as but New York State is incredible. It's a beautiful forests and stuff.
Yeah, upstate's really pretty.
Yeah, I do like New York.
Okay, and the final question is, if you had to spend an entire day with a clone of yourself, what would be the most annoying part of that clone?
Well, I'd imagine my clone would be just like a little bit bigger than me and just like a little bit dumber.
No, he's he's a clone.
It's me, Danny.
You do that too well.
I think that my clone would be a bit dumb.
No, your clone is a clone.
Okay, exactly the same.
It has to be you, yeah.
Yeah, and what would I do with my clone?
It doesn't matter. Like you spend the day with the clone.
Yeah.
What is the most annoying thing about the clone to you?
God, it's like, yo, clone, just like, shut up. Shut up. Jesus. You know what? Like, every single thought in your brain doesn't need to be vocalized. Like, sometimes you can just keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
God, you're so annoying.
Well, thanks very much for sitting with me.
Am I the clone? Am I the real Danny or am I the clone Danny? I don't know. I'm the clone, aren't I? I'm gonna go stare at myself in the mirror and go, you are the real Danny. Oh, that's dark.